Join the movement of self-discovery and acceptance. This is where we strive for more satisfaction, success, and peace while eliminating doubt, frustration, and bitterness. Come along with me as we explore human design with real-life examples and permission to love yourself better. Are you ready to go? Hello, hello, hello. National Renewal Day takes place May 4th every year, and it's a good reminder to continue creating the life you want. We usually associate a fresh start when we ring in the new year, but we can really participate in renewal at any time throughout the year. May is the perfect time to think about starting anew. It's been a few months since you might have thought about it at the new year, and many of us could use a reminder about those things we wanted to start fresh with back in January. You know, spring is here and there's new growth all around us, so why not join in on the fun? Regardless of what time of year it is when you're listening to this, it's always a good time to invest in you. Of course, we're going to approach this day of renewal from the standpoint of learning more about your human design so that you can work toward living in alignment with your energy and hopefully make life easier. I think that experimenting with human design is a great investment in personal development and can fast track your way to feeling authentic. Here are 7 ways that you can experiment with human design and participate in Renewal Day. Number 1, don't be afraid to try new things or to fail. Trying new things is especially true if you have a 3 in your profile. Our goal is to try and try again to find out what doesn't work, to be able to help people with what does work. I say our goal because I have a 3 in my profile, and learning this piece of experimenting was really important for me. So don't be afraid of this throughout your experiment because you are resilient. If you don't have a 3 in your profile, then talk to or make sure you hang around someone who does. They can help guide you based on the experiments that they've done themselves. You'll also be able to borrow some of their energy that helps them be resilient. Number 2, be flexible and willing to change. Unless you've done some deep personal work on connecting more to yourself, this is difficult to implement for most of us. Change can mean giving up control in some ways. Being flexible can require us to pivot when we might not be ready. In fact, if we're not in tune with the messages our body is telling us, then it will end up forcing change, and you'll have to learn to be flexible whether you want to or not. Experimenting with human design is likely a new concept for you, and there may be parts of your design that are difficult to implement, especially if you've had a lot of conditioning throughout your life. Reminding yourself about being flexible and developing healthy ways of navigating change can truly make all the difference. Number 3, things won't change overnight. I'm sure you know this already, but many times we still need to hear it. Sometimes we even need to hear it over and over again. Wanting instant gratification is toxic for us. The state that you're in right now, whether it be good or not so good, probably didn't happen overnight. So why do we expect that to change? Sometimes literally overnight. How many times have you said, "Yeah, I tried that and it didn't work for me"? Let's be honest now. How long did you really try it? Hey, I'm totally guilty of this. Following through with hard things is not easy, especially if you can't see the benefits right away. There's a lot that can be said about this topic, and I don't want to get off on too much of a tangent. Maybe this could be an entire episode of its own someday. I think you get the picture. Try to make a commitment to experimenting with human design because it will probably take more than overnight for you to see how easy life can be. Number 4, keep it simple and focus on depth instead of breadth. This might sound confusing at first because many people, including myself, talk about diving deep with human design. And many times they're talking about learning as much as you can about your chart. I'd like to redefine this by encouraging you to dive deep on the 3 most important things in the human design chart, instead of trying to learn everything you can about all the things. In the teaching world, it's better to work with your students in depth on a topic instead of just touching the surface about a lot of topics. This is the same concept I want you to consider when experimenting with human design. So when you begin, you'll want to learn and experiment with as much as you can around your type, strategy, and authority. In fact, you don't even really need to know much more than that. Just incorporating those 3 things will take your life to the next level. I've never been the type to have regrets, and I certainly wouldn't change my experiences with human design. But if I were to start my experiment all over again, I would start smaller. In fact, that's how I approach coaching sessions with my clients. We look at the big picture of their chart and then identify one thing for them to experiment with until the next time we meet. I find this helps them not feel overwhelmed with all the information in their chart, and it gives them actionable items to move forward with becoming more energetically aligned. Number 5, be curious and look for examples. You probably already know several ways you can be experimenting with human design. If you don't, then go back and listen to my episodes about type and authority. Depending on when you listen to this, you may be able to jump ahead and listen to your specific energy type in more depth to give you more suggestions. Regardless, make sure you're thoughtfully looking for ways you can experiment throughout your day or situations that come up where you're feeling like satisfied, successful, surprised, or peaceful. The more you look for examples, the more you'll see them. As you're learning more about human design, I always encourage using your own judgment and filtering out negative language that can sometimes be associated with this topic on the internet. There is deconditioning that we all have to do, but our goal is to move beyond the shadow and into the light. If we continually reinforce our thoughts with any kind of negative language, we won't be able to grow. If you're not sure about the information you're reading, then ask yourself if it feels right and use your authority to decide if it's right for you or not. I personally love that if approached the right way, human design is a very positive tool for us to discover more about ourselves and others. That's one of the things I love about it so much. We get to celebrate all of the things about each one of us. This could also be a full episode someday. Number 6. Expand your network of colleagues and friends. If you have a 4 in your profile, it's important for you to experiment with your networking. Many of the people I know with a 4 in their profile end up feeling liberated when they are given permission to talk to others, make connections between their friends and acquaintances, as well as when they are connected with another person by someone else in their network that can help them. If you don't have a 4 in your profile, then let your friends who do have a 4 connect you with people they think could be a good fit with you for what you're needing in that moment. They might not make perfect connections every time, but they always have good intentions. Number 7, journaling can help. When I would think about journaling as a young adult, it always revolved around documenting what was happening in my life. I felt like I had to start from where I left off and describe everything that had happened in my life since then. Honestly, this made me not want to write in my journal because it had been so long since I wrote anything that it would take me days to get caught up with the documentation of my life. I don't know when this all shifted for me, but now I try to just jot down my thoughts in the moment, even if they don't make any sense at all. This strategy has been helpful since I'm not feeling the pressure to write everything down in the correct chronological order and hope that I'm not missing anything. I'm appreciating this different form of expression so that it helps me process and sometimes analyze information differently. If this kind of journaling still doesn't sound structured enough for you, here are a few things you could try journaling or keeping track of as you are experimenting with your human design. Track your emotional wave, especially if you have a defined solar plexus. Once you've tracked your wave, then you'll know where you are in the cycle of your emotions so that you can see, oh, here in this part of the month, I'm probably not going to feel so great or be moody. Then maybe you make sure you don't make big decisions in that point. Describe situations where you have experienced your self or not self themes. Sometimes this is called your emotional theme, and I mentioned it earlier. It means that when your energy is in alignment, you will resonate with one of these words more than the others: satisfaction, success, peace, or surprise. Write down where and when you feel like you're in your creative flow, and likewise, times when things feel difficult. Keeping track of these details may give you some insights to help you stay in that creative flow longer. Recognize and document the invitations you receive throughout the day or week. Like I mentioned earlier, the more you look for them, the more you'll see them. This really helps any projector who first felt very resentful or bitter about needing to wait for the invitation to begin. Work on the practice of deep introspection. If you don't already do this, really start learning how to pay super close attention to your body. Our bodies can tell us so much if we let them. Recognize the signs your body gives you and journal about them. Imagine how you want to shape your life and then write about it. This is good practice for positive thinking, working toward a goal, and the beginning stages of manifesting the life you long for. All right, wrapping it all up. One of the most fun metaphors I've heard in regard to exploring human design was from Robert Hill, where he relates it to treasure hunting. And I'll link his website in the show notes. I have always been a treasure hunting or scavenger hunt type of person, so this metaphor really resonated with me. I've loved developing them for other people. Even as a little girl, I would create little hunts around the house with clues and trails of paper leading people to locations where they might find a piece of candy, a nice note, or maybe a funny joke. As an adult, I've designed several 2-hour full town hunts, and I love the journey that participants embark on as they find their way through the clues. Human design is very similar to this, and I'm finding myself functioning as the hunt leader again, or disseminator of information and breaking things down for others as they go on their human design hunt of self-discovery. I don't know Robert's design, but I'm guessing he has the channel 2343 defined, since he says on his website that he's really good at helping others break things down into manageable pieces of information. I too have this channel defined and didn't realize how often I utilized this in the classroom when I was teaching. I especially see it now as I help people understand their personal energetic blueprint. Because this channel is also in my conscious sun and earth, breaking things down into understandable bites is indeed my purpose in life. If you're not able to participate in Renewal Day on May 4th, or if it's not that time of year, I hope you schedule yourself a day where you can jumpstart your experiment and dive into human design. Until next time, happy exploring.
I'm so glad to connect with you today. Please follow the show, forward it to a friend, and leave a review. Send me an email with how human design has changed your life, and I might feature you on the show. Until we meet again, don't forget to love yourself better.